All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Paul McMillan II. Welcome to another back testing session on NAS100. It is October 23rd, 2021. So as you can see, I've already marked up all my zones on the 15-minute. So we're going to mark up from the 15-minute. We're going to go to the 30-minute, then the 1 hour and the 4 hour. Then we're going to go back to the 15-minute at current price and locate order blocks and basically make our decision off of a trade based off of the imbalances in the market, okay? And I'm going to kind of go into what institutional imbalance orders are and how they work, okay? And how you can actually trade them. So let's move on to the 30-minute. So this is the last 30-minute candle here. So I'm going to take a vertical line. And we'll move it over here, right? So then we're going to mark up our zones from this point on here. So mark it up to here. We'll make them green. See the next one right here. Next one's going to be up here. Right here. All right. So now we're going to mark up our zones on the on these horizontal lines. So change this to light green, clear and green. See, and then right here. So then I'm going to change the coordinates to these and then be right back. All right, so I changed my zones. I set up my zones for the 30-minute. So now what we'll do is we'll go to the 1 minute, the 1 hour rather, and do the same exact thing. So this is going to cover the 1 minute, the 1 hour here. So I'm going to put a vertical line, let's just say right here. All right. So then I notice we could put one here. That's fine. Right up against these wicks here. I'm going to make this red. All right. Realistically, I could bring this down in here. Yeah, that's more appropriate. Then I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones here. Change this to red. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to pause the recording, and once I'm done, I'll resume. All right, so we got the zones drawn for the 1 hour. Now I'm going to go to the 4 hour. And as we can see, we have everything drawn up all the way to current price. So now we're going to go back to the 15-minute, okay? So now we kind of see price interacting with these zones kind of pretty good. So now I'm going to kind of explain the order block theory. So when the banks buy and sell in the market, sometimes they create imbalances in the market. There's an imbalance. What does that mean? So I'm going to turn on the smart money indicator here. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to turn on the imbalance finder. So you notice that there's an imbalance in all these different areas. So say, for example, when price previously shot down here, this is previous price. This is an imbalance candle. This is an imbalance candle. So then what happens is it creates an imbalance in the market. Actually, this area is a perfect example. When sellers in the market brought the price down, they pulled back. They bought it down, pulled back a little bit, went down, and they kind of pulled it back, bought it up and sold it again, and then made it go down to this next level. Okay, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to actually draw a zone here, so that way you guys can kind of understand this. I want to stretch this one out. Save this, and then I'm going to get to the nitty-gritty. So now, when price came down, this was an imbalance here in the market. So what happens is when these two candles form an imbalance, price went down so fast that buyers in the market did not get a chance for a buying opportunity to make price pull back and then go down, not until price reversed and pulled back here. So it's realistic for us to actually say that there's actually an imbalance in this area here, okay? So the banks had to bring price all the way up. That's why I pulled back a little bit in order to fill in this area and to give buyers an opportunity to actually buy up and fill that order. Then they were able to sell again until price hit this level, pulled it back again because there was also an imbalance in this area as well. So they had to pull price up for the buyers to actually get another buying opportunity to market here and fill that order. And then they dropped it again, pulled back and dropped it again to this next zone. Okay. So as you can see here, I'm going to show you what price is going to do next. And then we're going to kind of study this. So ultimately, if we were to trade this, we see an order block up here and some imbalance, okay? So the banks had to bring price all the way back up to fill all these sell orders and all of these buy orders in this area, because you see from here, really all the way from up here, the banks sold. They did give some buyers some opportunity to get in, but then it started creating a lot of imbalances as well because of these imbalance candles. So they ultimately had to bring price all the way back up to give buyers an opportunity to fill up those buy sells that those buyers didn't have an opportunity to buy when price just went down so quickly. So they had to bring price back up. But you notice it's also hitting this zone. And it's very close to this order block. So it's a huge chance that they're actually going to sell price down again. Okay. So now we're going to kind of analyze this. So now the way I would sell this is I see that price is overbought up here. Okay. So I'm not buying. There's no way in the world I'm going to put in a buy order and try to sell up here. A lot of retail traders would think that price is going to still buy up and they would stay in, but the banks is going to straight stomp them out and sell down. That's why you have to understand the institutional. So what we're going to do is we're going to analyze each move and then talk about it. So now this is a banker's candle forming. Now, if I was to sell this, if I was to trade this, I would wait for this yellow EMA to cross the red EMA, okay? But we're going to kind of analyze this here. So then, we had a little bit of a pullback, price sold, pullback. See, it's retesting this, and the next thing you know, it's shooting down. Now, when you look at it here, you can kind of see that the yellow EMA is probably getting close to crossing the red EMA, okay? So then I would then I probably would put out my risk to reward tool and probably go ahead and set my take profit zones, because this would be a perfect opportunity to get in for a sell. Price pulling back, and now these EMAs officially crossed. So I would have got into a sell here. But notice that this created an imbalance area here. Okay. So the banks are going to have to bring price back to 50% of this area to correct this imbalance, and then to sell down. Okay. So that's probably what they're going to do. So let me pause this recording. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. So now this would be a perfect opportunity to buy, but it's a huge possibility that they probably might bring price down to here and then pull it back here and then push it back down. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to actually take horizontal line, place one here, take the zone and draw it here. And if I'm correct, I'm looking for price to go down and then maybe pull back and test this area. So that way buyers have enough opportunity to buy up and fill that order, and then they're going to sell price again. So let's see if that happens. So another imbalanced candle. So they're probably going to bring it up to here. So they're bringing it up. Yep. We were correct. So this wick tested this here. It tested this here. Now I probably could probably bring this down a little bit lower, maybe making this more accurate, but we were close enough. So we were actually correct in our analysis that they were going to have to bring price back up to correct that imbalance. Okay. So what would happen was we would have got in on this sell probably right here, and we would have got about almost 600 pips of NAS, which would have been a huge bag. Then we probably would have either closed our first partial trade or closed our whole trade and then wait for price to pull back. And then we probably would have got in here, because this might be a second entry. So let's see if that's the case. Okay. It's kind of retesting that area. It dropped again. So like I mentioned before, we could have sold here, closed our first partial trade or exited. So let's say if we close partials, we close our first partial trade here, we could have let the second trade went on, let it retest, and then price would have started selling. And then we could have closed our second partial trade here and added more profit to our trade. Or we could have just closed our first whole trade, and then we could have went in for another entry here. Okay. Because the banks corrected this imbalance area right up here, and it retested it, and now they're ready to sell again. So now let's see what happens. Now it's sold even more. So now you're earning more of a bag. Okay. And this is how you trade institutional, okay? Because you remember there was a order block up here. So price was ready to sell, but they had to correct all these moves from this imbalance here, and then even all this imbalance up here. Okay. So they might bring price back up a little bit to correct this here. So I want to say maybe like around this area here. And we're going to draw another rectangle. Okay. So let's see if they bring it back. Okay. Now it's so then my guess is they're going to drop price possibly all the way down to here, or maybe to test this zone here, and then they're going to buy it up to correct again and then sell it again. That's my guess. So let's see if it plays out that way. Not quite yet. So then pretty much down to this zone. So we'll just kind of do this, which makes sense. Makes sense because it's considered overbought at this point. That's what it says on RSI. It's pretty much close to that. So then now they got to fill in all these imbalanced areas, because now you have an imbalance in this area, in this area. So it makes sense that they're going to reverse price and buy it all the way up until this point, maybe, or even close to it, and then drop it again. Or they might actually buy price all the way up, retest it and buy it all the way up to fill in all these order gap, all these imbalances that price created from here, and then straight drop that thing again. One of those two. So let's see. See, it's retesting the zone. That's what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so it's going to drop some more. Okay, so that's understandable because they had to correct his imbalance here. So they brought it up back to here. And I believe, yeah, they had to bring it back up into this area, which makes sense. And so they want to drop it again. And I have a video that explains that too. So now price is really considered oversold here. Okay. So you would have got a huge bag out of this knowing how to trade this, just even knowing that knowledge. Now, this is a perfect opportunity if you wanted to, of course, to exit out this trade and take your profits and move on. But now you can say to yourself, you can say, more likely they're probably going to buy price all the way up to fill all these imbalances that this trend created. So then it's another buying opportunity for you because price is oversold. Okay. So then now you sit there and say, okay, I see a lot of imbalances that they're about to fill through this buy. Now I just need to wait for the yellow EMA to cross over the red EMA, and then it's time to buy up. So now let's look at this. Okay. So it's retesting this area. Yeah, now it's ready to go. It's really a double bottom. Okay, so now what do we say? What do we see? They're pulling it back a little bit, pulling it back, which is understandable, but it's respecting the zone that we drew. So let's just know we drew these zones correctly. So now when you look at the EMAs here, they've crossed each other. So now you can go ahead and pull out your risk to reward tool and start setting up your take profit zones. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is actually erase these. Okay, because now prices is going to come back and just fill all these areas. Matter of fact, I'm not going to do that. Let me keep those there because I want to support what I was talking about. So now all these imbalance areas, including all this here, the bank's about to fill them up. Okay, we can see it on the RSI prices buying up as well. You can see it all the way in here. So now pulling price down and then they push it down again, double bottom. So, I mean, so we probably would, if we had bought up, we probably would have made a small bag here, but really they pulled it back to correct, and now they're really going to buy it up. So we would just have to wait for the yellow EMA to cross over the red again. And pretty much is doing that now, right there. So then that's when you actually pull out your risk reward tool and then put in your take profit zones. Now the buying price up. Okay, how many pips is that? So we started right here. That's already about almost about 600 pips. That's a bag right there with a decent lot size on NAS. Now, up again, huge bag. Okay, now notice here, they had the buy price up to fill this area to basically give sellers another, well, basically give buyers and sellers another opportunity. So, well, they're giving sellers an opportunity to sell again that they couldn't do before. So that's why they're pulling it back here. But it was a small pullback. Now it's buying up again. Because why? They're filling in all the imbalance that previous trend created. So they pulled it back. Now look at that. Boom. Okay. Now price is pretty much almost oversold at that point. So price is either going to go against this 50% we drew earlier here, and they finally probably going to sell down again to to close these sell orders here, or they're just going to bring it all the way up to here and then make that thing drop once more. So let's see. But by the way, this would have probably been another entry for you, and that was another 400 pips, a decent bag. Okay. But let's see what else they do. They're starting to sell it. You can see it on the RSI here. They bought it back to that 50%. This order imbalance here previously. Okay. So remember, I told you guys that they would eventually bring it back and have to fill this order. So they had to create a buy momentum to actually bring price all the way back here and then sell it back down again. They didn't do it right away. They kept on dropping it until price was oversold, and then they were going to eventually bring it back. So now price is probably going to be selling. So this should have been your exit if you even had took this buy all the way up to here. This is your exit. But let's see what happens. Okay, so take that back. Yeah, see, price reverted. They dropped it again. So then the yellow EMA is pretty much crossed over. This would have been another entry for a sell here. And this alone is another imbalance area. Okay, how many pips is that? That's a decent bag right there. Could have even got a decent bag and jumped out there. But now they're going to have to fill in this area. Okay, so now they sell it once again. But guess what? Now they had to bring it back to the 50 to retest. Let's see if see, they had to retest it again. So let's go back. Let's go back. So it makes sense because I saw another imbalance area in this area. So let's take this. Makes perfect sense. Right back to the 50% of the area of the imbalance that was created from that quick move. And so price retested it with this wick. And now it's going to reject and go down again. And how do we know it's the 50%? Because when you take the fib from the most recent high to the most recent low, it's almost touching that 50% right here. If I even bring it down, 50% is up in that area, which is why fibs are king, because they give you the true bank levels and the right pullbacks. Okay. So now price rejected it and then it dropped again. Okay. Went down. But then now they got to bring it back up to fill this previous area. And then they dropped it again. You see that again? And then they had to come back up and fill in this area here. Okay? Because this was another imbalance area. So let's draw that. All right? So now you see what I'm talking about. So we won multiple trades just understanding this. They drop price again. See that? And now they're bringing it back up to fill out this imbalance area. Let's mark that again right here. So let me just take this out. So let me see the imbalance area they came back up to. They came back up to this imbalance area. Let's draw it. See? Boom. And then now what they're going to do, they're going to try to buy it up to fill that same area. And then guess what? Dropped it again. But now it looks like they're putting in another buy order. So you might want to exit. But then they're dropping it again. Now it's respecting this area. Then they're dropping it again because they're trying to fill in the orders. So now you kind of get the idea of exactly how to trade these order imbalances. So you can see that we would have won multiple trades just by getting in. You see very good buy and sell opportunities based off of these institutional imbalances. Okay. So that's what I pretty much wanted to show you guys. That's how you actually trade it. All right. That's it for this back testing session. Definitely see you guys in the next one. Let's get it. See you later.